Give me a nod when you're ready. Shooter's ready. Stand by.
Hello, everyone. This is Matt Gunlock with the 3GIQ podcast. Today, I'm sat down with Kevin from Athlon Optics. Kevin, go ahead, tell us about yourself some.
So where do I begin? I did 12 years in the Marine Corps. So that was a good part of my life. I'm a father of 3, and somehow, some way I was able to stumble my way into the industry. Currently work for Athlon Optics. Definitely a huge fan of the 2A community, and other things that don't involve 2A community like to do. I like to barbecue, hang out with friends, and drink good beer. Well, I do that with the 2A community too, so I guess it's all the same.
I mean, that's just American as fuck.
Yeah, that's so yeah, I mean, family first, obviously, most important. And I think one of the things the Marine Corps prepped me for is being in a job that I'm in now where I do have to travel, but still being able to make the most of family time. So
yeah, I mean, can't argue with that. I mean, you've been on many deployments just like I have. So it kind of grooms you for stuff on the outside in those regards.
It does. Yep.
What kind of deployments did you do?
So somehow in my 12 years, I only got deployed twice. I know you know how it goes. It depends. I wasn't in I was in a combat field, but not, an infantry unit or anything like that. So, or ever attached to the grunt. So, I didn't get sent out as much, but, 04, was in not Afghanistan, Iraq. That was pretty interesting just because that was when the election was happening.
Oh, yeah.
And we were at I was at TQ, and that was like the back door of Fallujah. So moved millions of dollars worth of gear, did a lot of convoys. And I think every Marine wants to get into a fight, whether they're a keyboard warrior or whether they're an 0311, right? For whatever reason, anytime we went out the wire, nothing ever happened. So the worst that happened was they took pot shots at us, on the daily with mortars, because that's what they did.
That's what they knew best.
That's what they knew best. And they did one time land one in our magazine, and that's probably kind of the coolest thing I ever did on a deployment. That would be what I would call Marine-ish, is we had to go get Marines from behind where all the ammo was going off, because there was HE rounds for tanks and plenty of other ammo popping off. So we went and got a bunch of Marines out of barracks on the base and got them to somewhere better. But that's about the coolest war story I have.
I remember getting mortared on the daily.
Yeah,
we were at a place. It was a retransmission site. We called it Quezon. Probably about 3 miles outside of the city of Alkheim. And it was just there were 3 posts there. We secured it with triple stand to concertina wire, and we had 3 machine gun bunkers. And on the daily at noon, we would get mortared. I remember the first time we got mortared, it was me and some guys from the sniper team that were out there with us. And by no means am I a sniper. They were attached to us.
Sure.
And I just remember we just heard boom, boom, boom. We're like, incoming. And so we jumped on top of each other, and they were like, hey, let's kind of see where they land. Typical stupid Marine,
Sure.
Let's go see where they land. Landed.
If you can hear them, you're still alive.
Yeah. They landed probably about 50, 100 yards away from us. As soon as the first one landed, we just jumped right on top of each other back in the bunker. Like, what the fuck were we thinking? So
we were doing colors one evening, because that's what you should do in a combat environment. But anyway,
sounds totally typical.
Lowering the flag, and you just hear them, boom, boom, The guys are looking at me, I'm like, dude, we got to get this flag down. I don't know what to tell you. Full faster, boys. So, yeah.
So, moving along, you said you were Athlon. How did you get involved with Athlon? What was your step getting into the industry?
So, I think everybody always wants to be, the plays in the world, not everybody, but wants to maybe get a shot of doing their passion for their job or getting paid to do it, and kind of what that mix is. So I'm a mid packer. I'll be a mid packer for life. I'll own it. I mean, I run around in a skirt. So, shameless plug for at Kilted 3-gunner. But I'm a people person. I think that just from how our ship started. It was at the random phone call. And now I'm on your podcast. So I started using testing Athlon stuff. They were at Hornady Zombies up in Nebraska for the Hornady shoot, and they had a tent out there in a demo bay, and I got behind the Cronus 1-6, and I was like, man, this is pretty nice. I was shooting another brand at the time. And so it's pretty good glass. Didn't really think about it. And then I was at actually a gas gun match at a PRS range, really out of my element. But a guy approached me, his name's Sean Tipping, and he owned kind of this like outdoor gear, survival prepper brand here in Kansas City. And said, hey, you seem like you kind of know what you're talking about. You shoot better than me. Which anyway, we'll get into that later. He said, would you like to, I'll sponsor you with optics and give you, this pretty significant discount. And so then I bought my first Cronus 1-6 and started shooting for him. And then he said, hey man, Athlon's got a sales position open. And I had a really good job at the time. I was a sales engineer for a precision tool manufacturer out of Minnesota. Good money. Travel was still there, but it was kind of my shot. All right. So I went interview with Athlon. I knew just enough. And then I had my sales background. So they took me on and I got hired. And now I'm the regional manager for the Southwest. So from Colorado all the way to Cali, pretty much. And, Arizona and New Mexico and Utah. So beautiful, beautiful territory to get to go out and play into. And then they also, with my Marine background, luckily enough, then I grew up in a cops family and just kind of always hung around law enforcement. I'm the national law enforcement guy for us too. So I deal with PDs and SWAT teams and have got to do some pretty cool stuff. So that's kind of how it happened.
That's pretty awesome.
And then it'll be 2 years in this November. And it's just a cool job. I get to meet cool people. I get to do very cool things.
You're sometimes you're living my future dream. I got,
yes.
I'm just hoping, I can get a job as cool as you.
Well, you're highly more qualified.
I hope
I am. Yeah, I think you'll love it. I think the cool part that I've realized too, when they use the term being in the industry is, we all compete against each other, but like I have good friends that work at Vortex and, we shoot matches together and we go out to dinner together and they'll pick up the tab. So I think that's still one of the coolest things I like about it is at the end of the day, there are plenty of competitors that we go up against. But at the end of the day, we all share the same common, family bond of being at 2A stuff. So,
and we all legitimately just, whether we're on the competition floor or we're, you're in sales, we all just want to see each other do good, because the better we do, the better livelihoods we have.
Yep.
And the happier we are.
Yep.
And the better we can help the consumer market.
Yep. Nope. Totally agree.
So what got you into the shooting sports?
So I love shooting in the Marine Corps, and I'll sound old school for like a half a second. When I joined, we still had spit time boots, tri-colored camo, and we shot with iron sights. I know obviously now the ACOG is a huge part of the marksmanship program, and I started shooting it eventually, obviously, because it transitioned over to it. But I think that's where I got my love. I grew up in a police officer's family. Mom wasn't a huge gun fan, and dad kind of played by that rule. So I didn't really do a whole lot with guns, shooting, until I joined the Marines. And then I got that taste, man, of breaking that shot at 500 yards through, literally a peep sight, and knowing that you can do it with a crappy rifle and crappy ammo. Yep. At the end of the day, it gives you a lot of confidence. So I was a rifle expert. I shot well. My pistol was a pizza box. I never shot the pistol well till after the Marine Corps. I did get involved with stuff like you did. Just, obviously didn't make the cut good enough. But I'd shoot the Western Division matches every year when the marksmanship team would.
And that was earlier on, whenever they were actually having them, and that was more of a bullseye oriented type match back then, right? Yeah.
Yes, and I was way out of my element on the pistol side when it came to that, just because I wasn't used to shooting anything like that. And with the Beretta 92 FS, that's not really designed for that. Other than a practical standpoint, I guess, of good marksmanship skills. But I think that's one of the coolest things I've seen you guys do, is get these Marines to compete while learning marksmanship. I think just changes the game. So
yeah, I mean, competition breeds excellence. If you can introduce the competition side early on, and Marines are naturally competitive, you're going to create people who want to learn and become better marksmen.
Yeah, totally agree with you. And I became a better marksman because of competitive shooting sports. So I'm thankful for that. And then I get to, hang out, and I knew I was going to plug him, but Dylan Easley, right? He's our asshole.
Yes.
But he's,
he's
if it wasn't
asshole, but he's our asshole.
Right. And if it wasn't for that guy, I would still be slumming it pretty low and not even close to mid-pack level. I mean, he took me under his wing, made me spend a bunch of money that I shouldn't have on good gear. But then he taught me how to shoot that good gear. And I think that's been the reason this season has been rough, is I've not got the practice in. And if you don't practice, it's perishable for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I noticed, like, I don't practice nearly as much as I should.
Right.
I still try and get out there. I've been doing my turnover as a staff NCOIC of the team. I'm now the staff NCOIC of the action shooting team. And now I am actually finding myself more on the range, but with us starting the MTTs up and everything, it's more about getting everybody else the training, but, still trying to manage and get out there and shoot.
Yep.
But what is your motivation that keeps pushing you to do better and better?
I think I get my work ethic, from my parents, and then the Marine Corps. I think if you use it correctly, the Marine Corps gives you a huge shot in your arm, and to be relentless in a pursuit. Like, I knew I wanted to get in the industry. I knew I wasn't going to be, realistically a top 10 guy. I don't have the time necessarily at this point in my life, or the funds to get the practice, and I would need to be in that level. Right.
Yep.
So I was like, how can I do this? And if I've learned anything, as an American, if you can try, and if you can figure it out, you can make it work. I mean, my job prior to coming to work with Athlon, I was a sales engineer. I was only one of two people in the sales staff of 50 that didn't have a college degree. And I asked them why. They hired me later down, and they said, dude, your background was phenomenal, and then we know you can sell on top of it. So I just think my motivation to keep going and doing better is for myself first, and then what that does is that benefits the people that I surround myself with in life.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, that
girl in the back. She's literally shaking her ass in the bathroom.
Oh, Jesus.
This is going to be on a Anyway, back to my motivation. That's kind of motivating me. Anyway.
Yeah, I bet. What's your stance on skill versus gear?
So this is a good question. And, I'll get, the top 10 guys, I guess 15 guys will always talk shit about mid-packers that are running gear like me. just because that's the nature of our sport. But I guess I learned this from Josh Freilich is, you're racing guns, right? So it's even like racing cars. Someone's going to finish in last place, but that doesn't mean they want to drive a slow race car.
Yep.
At the end of the day, too, even for budget-oriented guys, I'm blessed to have been able to purchase some pretty good gear from working hard. But I think whether you're on the clock and you're going to finish in first place or you're going to finish in last, the last thing you want is gear to go down. There is nothing worse than being on a stage and having a piece of gear fail to send your stage into a dumpster fire that you weren't even ready for. So I think buying quality equipment, maintaining quality equipment, and practicing with that quality equipment is good. Can you get it done with the Glock at the end of the day?
Yeah,
absolutely. Can you get it done with a pump shotgun if you really want to? I've seen guys run a pump faster than guys run a semi-auto. But part of the reason I like toys, and the toys in the 3-gun world, because I shoot open, are kind of unlimited. So I think skill is first. That's shown this year where I haven't got to practice because of my workload, with how busy things are. But skill over gear any day. But I will say it's hard sometimes you watch skilled guys that can't get that extra edge sometimes with the gear, and they would edge out guys by a few seconds with running some faster stuff. So
I live by the saying of buy once, cry once. Like, don't go out and blow all your money getting the best stuff. If you're on a budget, stick within your budget, but buy once, cry once. Get what that works, and then practice. Like, you should be spending all your money on practice. Buy ammo, practice. Get dry fire targets. I mean, you could get as much training in just by dry firing than what you can in live fire. You can get all the mechanical movements down, and then whenever you go to the range, you can put those movements into action.
Well, I think that's one of the biggest habits that Dylan broke me of was, I was so tactical from the Marine Corps, right? Yep. And, the teaches you a lot of good things when it comes to marksmanship. But I think, they call it practical shooting what we compete in, because that's what you really need in the real world, I guess. Mm-hmm. So, I was doing the bobbing and weaving, and I was keeping my cheek glued to the buttstock, and, not just running awkwardly. It was not pretty.
Yeah.
So I think you were told me footwork was going to be an important part. I would have never guessed that. So,
I go back and watch. I have gone back and watched some of my videos from whenever I first started competing, and I just cringe. Yep. I'm just like, I'm going to stop this now because I am embarrassed watching myself.
Yeah. Yep.
But it's a good thing looking at that, because you can see the progression that occurred.
Yep. No, I've regressed a little bit this year, and I know exactly why, and we'll make some adjustments to next year's season, hopefully.
So, we met each other for the first time this year at Texas 3-Gun Championship.
Yes.
And that was a good time. Day 2 sucked.
We were
wet.
I don't know about you. Obviously, you've shot a lot more matches. That is the wettest, most rain, most mud I've ever done since I've been doing this. And I'm going on 5 years of messing around in this sport. And we got through it, but man, it was rough.
No, honestly, it's the wettest match I've ever shot. Yeah. I don't think it compares to 2016 Hurricane Nationals. I didn't shoot that, but I was up there visiting friends, and they were shooting through a hurricane part of the day.
Yeah. Worries about that. So, but it's almost weird though, right? Like, we were all miserable, but we had fun in the misery, because it was still the sport. It was still the people you were with, and watching people get covered in mud was quite entertaining. So,
oh yeah, just watch your footwork. Don't fall. You'll be good.
Yep.
What matches do you have coming up?
So the only match that's technically still left on the schedule is the reformed Vortex Shootout is, I think, what Jeremy renamed it as. It used to be a Vortex Shooter Source.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Triple C had to close its doors up, but I think Jeremy made such a name for that match, and it's just he puts on great matches. It sounds like he's teamed up with Aaron Hayes, and they're going to go to Reveille Peak in October. And to me, any match that's available at Reveille Peak, I will always go to. 2 reasons. It's going to be a good match, and the options out there are amazing. I think we see this a lot of matches, and it's just being blunt, right? A lot of matches don't really change things up sometimes, and I think that's unfortunate, and I think that's why some matches will see numbers drop, and you'll see matches like Texas 3-Gun Magpool sell out in a heartbeat, because this year we shot it and we were on, I think maybe they used 2 or 3 of the ranges from the year before, but then everything else was in a different place. So very cool.
What was your thoughts on Indiana Great Lakes 3-Gun Championship? Because we just saw each other there.
That was the worst match I've shot in 5 years. So the match part was not great as far as execution. I thought it was different. In a good and a bad way, right? Like the stages were difficult. I think very much memory stages. There wasn't much gaming to the stages at the end of the day, which I think is
it was straightforward.
Yep.
You're going to shoot these targets with these guns in these locations.
Yep. I thought some of the spinner gate was interesting at best. I was on a pretty good squad, and watching guys that I know can run and gun, taking a full mag to get a spinner over was tough to swallow. But hey, everybody was shooting at the same damn spinner at the end of the day, and everybody had the same opportunity. So if you don't want to come to a hard match, then don't, I guess.
I kind of got to agree. Probably my worst match in quite a while. I consider myself fairly confident when it comes to spinners. And whenever I was shooting that spinner across the creek on that one stage, it kind of gave me a gut check. Usually I can get a pistol spinner in about 7 to 9 rounds. That's typically how I do. I wasted a whole mag on that and still did not get it over. And I'm just like, what the fuck? But then whenever I went to the next stage, where you started out with the shotgun, moved down and finished with the pistol, I was able to get that one over. But I learned these spinners are heavier than most other spinners.
Yep.
And I had to take my time and time my shots appropriately, rather than try and do quick follow-up shots. Yeah.
Accuracy by volume was not going to work with that situation.
No. But I mean, at the end of the day, I had a good time. I think I had a great squad.
I think too, their hospitality at this event was probably some of the best.
Yeah.
Cooking food, or at least having good food options for shooters. I always look at this too. And now that I'm on the other side, that I'm in this industry, but I still compete, is it's still, you're serving your customer is the shooter. So, I think things like that will get guys to come back to a match, even if that match kicked their ass.
So, what matches do you have coming up for next year? What do you have planned?
So next year, I don't think it's going to happen this year. Obviously, I think my only one left is going to be Texas, just because of time. I got to do Memorial 3-Gun. I think I'm going to try and do some more things out west next year and step outside of my usual spots, just because of what I do. I want to, talk to more people about, our optics, or at least get a chance to expose them to it. Especially since my company is gracious enough to send me these events. Right. So I think I want to do some Colorado. I want to do Rocky Mountain 3-Gun. I heard really good things about that. I don't know if Surefire put on the yesterday, but I guess the match out in Grand Junction was pretty good.
Nevada, the Surefire World Championship or whatever it was.
Yeah, they did the world, whatever. They did it this year in Colorado, I guess, versus they used to do it out at Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
So they moved it to Colorado. So I want to do some more Western stuff. I always try and hit Gin 3 gun just because I love Chad Francis and the premise behind Gin 3 gun. I'll always hit Missouri 3-gun state championship. I would say that's my closest range as far as it puts on a major match. It's only 2 hours from me. And then without a doubt, one of my favorite matches to be a part of, and you need to be at next year, I'm calling you out on your podcast to be there right now, is Blue Line at Lucas Oil Cattle Ranch down in Cross Timbers, Missouri. Big pitch for that is the range is beautiful.
Yep.
The ranch is unbelievable there. It's a place to kind of escape life at the same time and do a shooting event. But it goes for a really good cause for police officers, families. And then the Lucas family, man, they just roll it out for this event. And it's raised a lot of money. And then Bruce Davidson, I think, is a mastermind with ass-kicking stages that are accomplishable. So, yeah, that's probably one of my favorite matches. That and Texas Magpul are probably my top two.
Yeah.
And then I don't want to miss Wisconsin next year, after hearing how good it was this year.
That was a solid match. It was a good time.
Those Vortex boys know a few about setting up matches.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah. Adam Maxwell did a really good job setting that match up.
Yep. So I would like this year. I did it the first year and had a really good time, but I want to check out the new range and I want to shoot at a 200-yard pistol target too. So
I don't want to do that part again.
You know, what's funny is you never know what you're prepared for those matches, but we screw around at Dylan's range and we'll get out that far and we're just doing it for fun. But little did he know that he was going to do it in a match. So
here's a question for you. How does Dylan go from shooting a match, 3-gun matches, and never injuring himself, and then going to a 1-gun match? What, he was shooting PCC, and and now he's all of a sudden injured.
Well, yeah, and I think he got out of a lot of stuff. He didn't have to. I think he skipped out on Garrett for Snipers Unknown. Let's see. He went. No, he did shoot Jeff Kirkworth. I think this week. Was it this week?
Last weekend.
I don't know. I think Dylan just thought he was cool and could run fast with a pistol, and he found out that he can't. I don't know.
Oh, by the way, Dylan, I love your profile picture. It is wonderful. And for those of you listeners who don't know Dylan, type in Dylan Easley, and you will see a picture from his butt to his calf.
Yep, he's very proud of his own ass, which is weird, but that's Dylan. So, my best, I have it on video. I'll send you the clip after the podcast because maybe you can repost it or something. We were at Vortex Shooter Source, Vortex Shooter Source, and the weather wasn't great, and he was running with his shotgun, distant arm shotgun, and wipes out flat, and he uses his shotgun to brace the fall, which Dylan's a big dude and it didn't work. And he gets up, there's mud in the shotgun. He did maintain positive control of the weapon. So he did keep shooting. I will give him that. And first round out of the shotgun, the muzzle brake opens up like a shark's tooth.
Oh, I remember him talking about that. Okay. I need to see that.
Yeah, I will send that over to you. So, but yeah.
All right, get him back to Athlon. So getting back to Athlon some, I'm running the Cronus BTR Gen 2 1-6 power optic. I absolutely love that thing. I know that's what you've been running. Have you transitioned over to the 1-10 yet? So
the infamous 1-10, right? No, I have not. And here's why, because we keep giving them to everybody that needs them. And I, at the end of the day, come second. I have shot the 1-10. I have a little bit of extreme proud in that deal because I worked hard to push. I think we needed an option, obviously Vortex came out with a great version of the 1-10. They nailed it, but, not everybody can afford that price point. Right. Yeah, so I was like, how can we get shooters? And that's kind of what Athlon does. How can we get shooters good gear and still make it affordable. And I think they hit a home run with the 1 to 10. It took a little while. The first ones we got back that we were not happy with. And then we told the factory, hey, can you please make these changes for us? And they did. And I think at the end of the day, it turned out pretty good. The guys I know that are already running it, Aaron Willis shot it at Great Lakes.
Mm-hmm.
I asked him how it was because there was a little bit of long range out there, and he loved it. So I think between my favorite still will always be the Cronus 1 to 6. I don't know if that's because of what I started with or not, but for it was one, the reticle was designed by Billy York and our owner, so it has a little bit of a 3-gun influence in it. I like the very clean, easy to use reticle in there. There's no mess. There's no more in there than it needs to be. And I think sometimes reticles get too crowded. And in our sport, I think you need to keep it. I think that's what we try to do with the 1 to 10 as well, is to keep it very clean and not super busy.
I'm the same way. Like the Cronus BTR Gen 2, super simple. You know, you can engage targets out to 600-700 yards with it, no problem. I know whenever we were in Texas, under shitty conditions, you know, there, you know, and I hit pretty much every target 1 for 1. I think I had one makeup shot, and that was at the 500-yard target. When it came to the 600-yard target, I hit it first round impact, and it came down to no one holds. But it's a super clean, it's a super clean optic. I'm looking forward to trying out the 1 to 10. I
promise.
No, I know. I'm not worried about that. I personally like first focal plane, and I like mill reticle. I've grown up with mill, you know, pretty much my whole career. You know, I know the RCO is a BDC, but you know, most of my 3-gun career, I would say, I understand mills a lot more. It's easier for me to get behind that, and I can look at Streetlock Pro and be like, okay, for a 300-yard target, what am I gonna, you know, what am I gonna use? Okay, 1.5 mils, whatever it is, and you know, I can just remember those numbers in my head. For some reason, I'm good at memorizing numbers, so I don't even have to draw a diagram if there's a lot of them. It's just going right down the line of near to far and being able to engage those targets.
Yep. Nope, I agree. I think, you know, again, that optic, you know, finishes, I think prices, both the 1 to 10 and the 1 to 6 are right under $1,000. Yeah. So, you know, for your shooter that is on a budget, but can want all the good things that you need, I think it's a great option. You know, it's hard, right? Because people are like, what's your favorite one? You know, I work with Athlon, obviously, right? They pay my bills. Mm-hmm. But I think what helped me is that I shot their stuff before I came to work for them. I wouldn't have taken my job at a company, especially in a field that I'm passionate about. I do know a lot of people, if I didn't believe in the products that they sold at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, when you're selling stuff, people
you have to believe in it. You don't want to bullshit a bullshitter. You have to, if you can already believe in that product, there's no bullshitting somebody. You're telling exactly what you think about that product.
Totally agree. And I think you're going to continue to see good growth. And we got some fun stuff coming out in 2022. Let's just hope the market slows down a little bit so the supply chain can kind of catch up. We'll see how that goes.
I'll tell you what, to go back on scope, some of the 1 to 6 that you guys have. Last weekend I shot in a tactical games match. It was my first one. I'll tell you right now, I had a lot of anxiety going into it. It was like, am I going to be physically prepared for this? For the functional fitness side, I was great. For the endurance run portion, not so great. I hate running. I'll tell everybody that. I thought I was going to die out there. But the marksmanship side, it wasn't anything that was extremely difficult, but it was still a challenge on the pistol stuff. You know, it was, you're shooting dot torture at 10 yards pretty much, while being physically exhausted. For the rifle stuff, you know, you have specific target zones, and you're, you know, on an IPSC target. Like you have to keep it within a certain area, and then you're also engaging some steel on some of the stages out to 300.
Yep.
A 1 to 6 power optic for that sport is the way to go, because whenever you're physically exhausted and you're on a rooftop or you're in the prone or you're shooting offhand with the sling, one thing us Marines have in common is we know how to go super fast, but we also know how to dial it back a second and get our hits when they count. And so it's just reverting back to the fundamentals, even under exhaustion, and getting those hits. And one thing I absolutely loved is I could dial it up to 6 power and make sure my shots were going exactly where they needed to go.
Yeah. Yep. No, I think you're right. And I think, sometimes people do get caught up in the whole gear world, right? Mm-hmm. Shoot what makes you happy. Yep. But, I think it's always good to check out other options at the end of the day. I think sometimes people think because it's not a $3,000 optic, there's no way it could be a $3,000 optic. And I think that's what Athlon, our owner, was after, was to kind of say, hey, you guys can still get into these sports and still make it affordable. We're not going to leave you out on, good quality optic at the end of the day. So.
And the other thing I absolutely loved about it is through all the banging around I did, slinging my rifle, running with my rifle and optic for 5 miles, picking heavy weights up with my gun slung on my back or just hanging down in front of me. I saw other people's using different products and their zeros were shifting. I saw some scopes just break, electronics breaking, stuff happen, and that scope held up.
I've had mine on there because I started. So I've had mine on there for almost 3 full seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And I will check the zero, and I haven't had to touch it. I wish I could. I just haven't. It's lights out. So it's probably why I push it so hard. I've been getting into more into LEO hands lately too.
Yeah.
So I think once people get behind the glass, they'll go, oh, this is pretty good. And it's durable, and that's really what you need in an optic at the end of the day.
But if somebody is interested in purchasing a scope from Athlon, how can they get a hold of you?
So I'll do this twofold. One, because I know some of your audience is going to be cops and military and all that stuff. So a couple options are on that side. If you're a mil LEO, first responder, dude, chick, whatever, you can use Expert Voice, you can use Guide Fitter, and even now on Euro Optics, you can use your credentials, and you have access to a nice, healthy discount as a thank you from Athlon for doing what you and I, well, you still do, and something I used to do. At the end of the day, it's easy for us to do. And then for everybody else, civilians, I guess for all intents and purposes, is go contact your local dealer, look them up. There's a zip code finder. We're in bigger stores, and you can order stuff online. You're paying my bills at the end of the day, so I don't really, necessarily care how you do it. But I think one of the things I like the most about this job is working with smaller gun shops and tactical shops, or whatever you want to call them, gun ranges that sell our stuff, and they're the salt of the earth people. I've watched guys start out of their house to open up their own storefront, to open up multiple locations. It's kind of cool to be a part of that. So I would say look up a local retailer, shop, or we're in Shields and online at Euro Optics and Cameraland and some of the bigger, obviously, online names too. At the end of the day, my email address is on the website. I'm probably going to regret doing this, but if you need something from us, I think you can attest to this, Matt. We'll pick up the phone and we'll talk to you, and we'll make sure you get yourself taken care of, because I think that's what it really comes down to. All the optics, there's so many choices, right? So I think it comes down to customer service, the quality of your optic, and then reticle choice. At the end of the day. I think it's more about a relationship than a sale in our world a lot of times.
Absolutely. Relationships are everything. It's all about who you know and how you get treated.
Yeah.
And I'd rather go with somebody. I'd rather go with. Oh no, you're fine. I'd rather go with somebody I can trust and a company I trust, and that I know that it's going to take care of me, because I know if something goes wrong, I can easily call them up and be like, "Hey, I just had this happen. What can we do? Hey, let me take care of that for you. Let me get something out for you."
Yep. No, you never know, because like if you would have told me that I would be doing a podcast with the staff in COSC of the Marine Corps marksmanship team, and that you would be running one of our optics and featured in combat, the magazine, it's just crazy. I don't even know how did we start? Was it a phone call?
Yeah, it was a phone call. Somebody passed me your information, so I was like, "Hey, let me give this guy a call."
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's one of the biggest things is you never know. It could just change with stuff like that. So, looking forward to seeing big things from you after you do that final salute, bud.
I cannot wait till that happens. Don't get me wrong, I love everything I do, but I'm ready to be a homebody. I still want to go out, I want to compete, I want to have fun, but I want to dial it back a notch and actually spend some time at home.
I think it will be good for your heart and good for your soul, man. I think that, when I got out of the Marine Corps, I was definitely, I wouldn't say freaked out, but you have kind of that insulation of your brotherhood. What the Marine Corps can really provide you is stability at the end of the day, even though it's a tough lifestyle. Civilian world ain't like that, man. They will fire you and send you down the river in a heartbeat. At most jobs. I've been lucky to work pretty good places, but I was able to transition out, man. It was kind of nice to just relax.
I bet. That's what I'm looking forward to. I think for me, like, what has kept me driving, what has given me drive is the Marines that I am around, but I can easily substitute that with the competition community, the 3-gun community. And, I'm going to be doing some more tactical games. So, and I really enjoyed that community. So, you build those relationships, and those are the people that kind of help keep your drive going.
Nope. I think you're right. I think that's why I immersed myself in the 3-gun community, because I missed that part of the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
And the 3-gun community in a lot of ways very much is like that.
Yep. But I'm gonna I'll go ahead and put your email address in the notes section if you're good with that. And do you have anything you want to kind of let the people know as lasting words?
Lasting words for me, that's a scary idea. No, I just think that you need to realize that to keep the shooting sports going, you have to get out there and you have to go compete. I would say to anybody that deals with the firearm, whether you're in the Marine Corps, whether you're a police officer, if you use a firearm in your life on a daily basis, go compete. I think it makes you a better marksmanship, a better marksman at the end of the day, and also gives you perspective of your deficiencies, and they won't get exposed inside of a shooting lane at the gun range. It won't happen.
I was actually talking to a buddy of mine today. I haven't spoken to him in years since he got out, and he called me out of the blue, and it was great hearing from him. And he's a cop up in Indiana, and he's like, when you get out, if you have any influence, because I want to be an instructor, whether it's for police agency, whether federal, state, whatever, or private company. He's like, if you have any influence it in the terms of dynamic shooting. There are guys that are on my department for the past 25 years, and they still do static lane shooting, and it sucks.
Yep, it's not practical at all, and at the end of the day, it could get you killed.
Yeah.
So,
but other than that, it's been great talking to you, and
likewise.
Yeah, and I look forward to seeing you at other matches.
All right, man. We'll talk to you later, Matt. You have a good one.
You too.